Hey everybody, Scott here. Back to drink another tea. Today it's going to be Yunnan sourcing tea from 2011. A blend. It's a 2011 Feng Yun, which is a blend of 3 different teas from Yunnan. It's a Pu-erh, raw Pu-erh tea, and 400 gram cake. Pressed 2011, pressed in November. I believe it's a blend of autumn and spring teas from 2011. And so I guess, wow, so it's about, I don't know. Wow, 8 years old? No, 7.5 years old at this point. So yeah, let's get started on it. Let's talk a little bit more about it. This is a blend that I made the same time as I made the Cha-Chi blend, which is a Bouillon blend. So the 2011 Yunnan sourcing Cha-Chi, that was a blend from 2011. I think 2011 was the first year that I actually made blends. And then in 2011 we also made the Sanhe Chai, which is excellent as well. This is one that we never made again, simply because the different teas that we used in it just weren't available. I'm actually maybe interested in doing one again this year, 2019, but we'll see. Really what's important is, not doing the blend every year, but making sure that the tea is good. If a different combination of teas is good and it's one we've never done before, then we'll do that and we'll give it a different name. Or, sometimes like the Impression series, it's not always the same. We give it, like the 2012 and 2014 and 2015 are all different. The 2017, 2018 are basically exactly the same. There's a wash there. I'm going to go ahead and keep going with this. Wow, it's got a nice orange tea soup. It's pretty incredible. It's just hard to believe like how fast time travels, like how time passes. It seems like just yesterday that I was making this tea. I actually remember sitting in my apartment, my tea room in Kunming, drinking this tea with somebody that was visiting me. I was wearing I had this crazy stretchy Avatar t-shirt that Xiao bought me, and I actually remember really quite clearly. It's funny. Oops, now I'm overbrewing the tea here. Oh wow, there's still this very hint of little hint of smokiness, or maybe it's like tobacco. It's a very slight smokiness that's in this tea. I remember that one of the teas that was in it was somewhat smoky at the time, and that's carried over. The tea is really oily as well. You can almost see like a little sheen of oiliness on it. It's very thick and viscous. It's been about half a year since I've had this tea, so it'll be fun to check in with it again. Actually, let me use this to wash I should have washed these other cups a bit, or warmed them up. But yeah, it's another blend that we also did actually in 2011 was the Feng Yun Cha. That video should be out by now. I did a video of that pretty recently. Feng Yun Cha is interesting because at the time of pressing it, was that in 2012? Crap, I can't remember. But the Feng Yun Cha is also excellent, affordably priced tea as well. And at the time of pressing it, it was already a few years old. So that one's it's like more than 10 years old now. That tea, the tea and the tea. Another one that we blended was Xishuangbanna 2000. I think that was 2000. I remember it was 2012. Xishuangbanna, also a blend. 2012 Guhuaxiang, another blend that we did, autumn blend. That's really good. In 2013, we started the doing the what do you call it? The Yexin blend, which we did for 2 years. Yexin, which was really good, which means kind of like wild heart. And then of course the impression blend, and then we've done a few others here and there. Oh, the 2013 Feng Yun, a spring blend. So actually on the site you can find under curated tea samplers, raw Pu-erh tea samplers, you can find some, or you can search Yunnan sourcing blended raw Pu-erh sampler, and it'll come up with a few different ones. So if you want to get to know some of the older blends that we did. Wow. This is still really potent. It's like kind of like a bouquet of flowers. That smokiness, I don't really taste it. I got this whiff of it, and again, I don't know if it's smokiness or just kind of it's more of like a tobacco type. It's got a nice honey sweetness to it. It still is quite strong. It's got a real bite. There's definitely astringency, definitely a bit of bitterness. It's a very like floral tea as well. It's like honey and floral. I'm gonna go ahead and get this in here. Hot. I don't know why. Sometimes I do the exact, handle the gaiwan, the exact same gaiwan, the exact same way, and I've just boiled the water, and sometimes it's totally fine. Other times I'm burning myself. The only thing I like to do is I like to not overfill the gaiwan with water, so the water just comes like right around the edge so of the lid. The lid meets the bowl. Let's go ahead and drink the second steep. I guess this is technically the second steep since I dumped the first one. That's interesting. There's almost like a very interesting. It's almost like a herbal, like almost like a hoppy type bitterness with like a herbal sweet after finish coming here. That's really interesting, and that's definitely an aged thing. It certainly wasn't like that when it was young. It's very viscous. It's got it's really pungent. It's tanniny. It's got you know, coating the tongue. I've got the mouth watering. It's very active in the mouth. Very strong. This is a very strong tea. Interesting because it's, well, it's part autumn and part spring, so. Really nice. That continued kind of like, I just don't know how to describe it. It's like, it's thick, it's malty, it's hoppy, it's honey, it's floral. It's kind of, it has a real medicinal, but it's a sweetness to it, and especially in the after finish, and the huigan is quite sweet. Go ahead and put this in here. Lucy was sitting down here. She was like ready, and then she saw something out the window and she took off. Luckily, she's not barking her head off right now, because that always kind of annoys me when I'm trying to do a video and I'm wondering what kind of crazy shit she's doing. All right, steep number 4. So sweet. kind of got a real crispness to it. It's viscous, and then it's cooling as well. It goes dry here, like it kind of like, but then here and on the tongue you have this like oily thickness that it keeps. But it's very cooling. It's very like almost mint-like. I'm hesitant to use that word to mint, but it has a similar kind of effect on the mouth as mint might. It's very interesting tea. It's really not like anything like other teas that I have at all. I'm going to go ahead and reboil this. I seem to lose all concept of time, but I do know it's not very warm in the house today. And I do know that the water loses its temperature pretty darn fast, especially with this glass thing. It's not particularly, it's a great kettle, but it doesn't hold the heat super well, super long. Oh well. Oops. All right, let's do steep number 5 here. Wow. That really came together. That kind of like, I don't know if I didn't steep this one long enough, but that came back real strong, really thick. Again, potent tea, tanniny, in the mouth, oil. I remember the early steeps had this almost like sheen of like oil or something, just like a lot of, very, very viscous. Comes through very fast, clean, minty, cooling. Get some more water in here. We'll go. Steep number 7. That's the other good thing about setting up the cups like this is it really helps. So I did a wash, so this is number 6. Otherwise, this would be number 7. But this is number 7 here. It makes it so that you can really keep track of like the number of steeps you're doing. Some people like to, and I've noticed some of these, some of the Chinese tea sellers and Pu-erh sellers and people I've seen online, they like to take like 10, 12 cups and like put them in an array and just, do steeping for every single one and then take a picture to show, the progression of steeps and the tea soup color. Of course, you don't really know how long. Oh, excuse me. You don't really know how long they steeped each one for, and sometimes they'll share the parameters of how many steeps they did, which is kind of cool. Nice orange color here. It's definitely gotten a little bit lighter. I'm gonna actually do a flip on this. Yeah, there's definitely some. Ooh. I like to do this just to kind of get the bottomy stuff. Just kind of move it around a little bit. I think it helps. I've seen that done with Xishuangbanna as well, where Xishuangbanna, they're just like pack it in the gaiwan and then they flip it after a few steeps. And that actually really does make a difference. Got a little leaf there. Oh, excuse me, I know that's gross. It's just so satisfying. It's viscous. It's really nice. It's got a really nice, it's really aging quite nicely. It's definitely got this like sweet honey, rock sugar. It's mineral, floral. I want to say hoppy, but I don't really know what hops taste like all by itself. But it does. I haven't had an IPA in many, many years, but it definitely reminds me of an IPA. That just like totally pops into my head when I drink it. It has that, This would be one of those teas that you could make into like a tea beer, like an IPA or something like that. All right, that's steep number 8. Steep number 9 here. Steep number 8 is still going strong. Reboiling in the water is really helpful. I have heard from some people that reboiling the water is just terrible, but I don't think so. Maybe you sacrifice a little bit, maybe for the softness of the water, but to get, to get that heat up again really gets everything out of the tea, especially pour or anything where you need a lot of heat. So I think, a real brief reboil, just enough to get the bubbles turning a little bit, and then, let the bubbles settle, and then pour. I suppose in an ideal world, and maybe it's just because I'm a very a frugal kind of person, I don't like the idea of just boiling the water and then going and getting more water. I mean, I guess I could, but then the less water you use too, like if I used much less water, it would get cool that much faster too. So I like to come in and boil more water, because then I get 5-6 steeps out of it, where it's real hot. And then reboil it again, and then later after this, I'll probably let it sit, and then I'll pour it into something else. I have another kettle there, and I'll pour it into there, and then I'll just drink that for the rest of the day. So I probably could have gone longer on that steep. We're getting definitely heading up into number 9 now. So this is number 8. It's really nice at this point. It's really, it's the sweetness is coming out. There's a little bit of astringency, but I don't really notice it. And maybe it's because my mouth is, I've got this tanniny Xishuangbanna tongue right now, and it feels great. Oh. Somebody's calling me on my Google number. Yeah, let's go ahead and drink this, and then we'll call it quits. Really, really nice. This tea is I think, very graceful in terms of how it progresses. It's never overpowering. And at the end, it doesn't just go into total astringency and blah. It's very nice at the end. It's still thick, relatively, and sweet. It's very nice, and still plenty of flavors. Nice tea. Obviously, good leaves that we used. Not a large production. I think we just did just over 100 kilos. It's definitely one of those, I can kind of consider it kind of under the radar teas, and that it hasn't, as is a lot of our earlier teas where people, and I think a lot of it is the wrapper, we use the same wrapper basically the whole year, and differentiated autumn. This is pressed in the second half of the year, although it's not entirely autumn tea. Second half of the year and the autumn pressings, we did a red stamp, and then the spring part of the first half of the year, we used a black stamp, but the same wrapper. So these earlier productions, wrapper's a little less sexy, as it were, and a little more required to, differentiate them from each other. So I think that's one of the reasons. But those who are in the know have tried this tea and are enjoying it. And I would highly recommend that you give it a try too. It's not very expensive. I think it's just under $70 or so. And just under 70. And yeah, you can pick up a sample. It's a 400-gram cake. It's, again, the 2011 Yunnan sourcing, Feng Yun. That's Feng space Yun. I'll link to it down below. If you want to subscribe, that would be good. And then you can see when our next videos come out. Thanks for watching. Bye.